Hello, good evening once again, and welcome to another episode of Caribbean Feedback. We have a very slim panel with us this evening, but we're here to do the thing. And as we say in Trinidad, Sam, one monkey don't spoil no show.
That's right.
Right? We have to keep
No
the
show
thing
spoiling.
going.
No show spoiling.
So this evening, all you just have to exercise all your jaws a little more and talk some more. All right?
We go talk, we go exercise. We go exercise, talk, and do all kind of thing.
All right. So this evening, I want to send out some positive vibes to our good buddy, our esteemed panelist, Mr. Mark Chase. He's a tad bit under the weather right now, dealing with an emergency situation.
You think it's because Trump trial start? Trump.
I don't know. These Republicans
every time something happens to Trump, he always getting, he under the weather.
Some way they always get some adverse effect.
Yeah.
Don't throw him under the bus. Do not throw him under the bus.
Some kind of adverse effect.
We need to investigate this matter. Every time with Trump, we had a.
Yeah, I tell a fella yesterday in the supermarket, I say, but I have a phone number for you, He said, what for what? I say, you may be entitled to medical compensation. I said, because all you who drink the Kool-Aid, you might be entitled to some medical compensation for being led astray. But anyway, he can't really give that fella more time than he deserves. We put up with him for 4 long years. Let us not create this platform here for him. Good evening, Miss Sylvester. How are you doing today? So glad you could join us. Good night.
Good night.
And welcome.
Welcome to the show.
So, Miss BantuKreations, or you tell me that is not your name. Your name, Karin. Miss Forrester. Let me get the show rolling. Talk to the people then now. Let me do the introduction up front.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karin Forrester. I'm with BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in wonderful shapes, shades, colors, and sizes. Don't let the large sizes fool you. They're extremely lightweight earrings. BantuKreations can be found on Facebook and on IG as BantuKreations. That's BantuKreations with a K. Back to you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you so much, Miss Forrester. Lovely stuff you have there. Lovely things going on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Samuel Archer, Mr. Producer
extraordinaire,
Mr.
Before we talk about that, I just wanted to find out, so you have any specials for the Valentines? Any special shipping arrangements for the Valentines people who didn't get a chance to order anything yet?
I don't know about special shipping arrangement. It is COVID time, people. But we do, all our earrings are beautiful, and any gift that you carefully select for someone, that person will be most appreciative. I don't think there's any particular earring that is for Valentine's season.
Oh, okay. They just prefer chocolate. Is there like a chocolate version of the earring?
Only if she's depressed will the chocolate really help her out. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that today.
Good night, Lucy. Good night.
Hi, Lucy.
I think we need to start some T-shirts and hook up Lucy.
Hook up our
and Sharia. Yeah, they just come through very, very strong every time.
Thank you very much.
So we need to look into that situation. So, all right, so we're talking about me a little bit. I am Samuel Archer. Muzilog.com is the publication online. And this is where music, entertainment, and culture resides and lives. And I'm also a musician, recent author of the book Hybrid Executive. I actually found a copy bouncing around the house somewhere the other day there that I've been using for the last couple episodes of the show. I'm just keeping that one close because you know how it is these days. And let me put up my little ad here real quick so you can see information about the book. And it's at Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, iBooks, Nook, and places like that. And I guess you'll learn more about me as the night goes on. Back to you, brother. Oh no, we have one more thing to do. We have one more thing to do.
Yes, this is your department.
Yes, this is
You
my
need to help
section
with us.
because I like to do the episode countdown. So tonight
Counting down or we counting up?
It depends on where you're looking, how you're looking at it. If you're looking from one end, you're counting up. If you're looking from the next end, you're counting down. So you all ready?
Do your thing.
10. Ay. Episode 30. Ay.
Episode number 30.
Episode.
Like I always say, I'm looking forward to episode 130.
Let me drink to that.
My tea kind of hot, but I'm gonna take a toast to that.
Yeah, it was real hot day, but that was a hot. That was. Me taste better than them do a thing. So like, yay.
That one snatch me.
It thought it was rum there for a second. like a bush rum take there. Yeah?
I ain't know about that at all.
You don't know about bush rum? All right, cool.
Well, all right, back to me.
Yeah. You could talk about Caribbean chat, right? Yeah.
Well, before I get to Caribbean chat, I don't know if Dr. Barnes will be joining us this evening. She herself hasn't been 100%, but she tries every now and then to still get on the program and bless us with her presence. And I do hope that she can make it in this evening to chat for a little while. Speaking about chat, I am the host, producer of Caribbean Chat.
That's right.
Where we provide a platform where we celebrate the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, education, and economics. We explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. I urge you to look us up on YouTube at Caribbean Chat. That's chat with 2 T's. Caribbean Chat. Or you can like us on Facebook, follow us on IG, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Caribbean Chat with 2 T's. While you're there on YouTube, make certain that you subscribe to Caribbean Feedback. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know your feelings about anything, about anybody on the panel. Let us know if you like Sam more than you like Karin. Let me know if you like Karin more than you like Judith. And if you only like anybody else more than me, keep it to all yourself.
Yes.
Because I know.
Don't start one, won't be none. Don't start any problems. We've been very peaceful in this place.
I know people love me.
Let us keep it that way.
So this evening, what are we dealing with this evening? There's no way to put a nice spin on this thing, you know.
Triple threat.
I don't know if I'm putting it in the right order, but we're talking about you all have it labeled as a trifecta, but somehow they don't necessarily come as a trifecta. It's more of a duplicity. We had death, we had divorce, and the other fella seemed to show up in the middle and always rearing his ugly head. That guy called depression. Tonight we're talking about death, divorce, and depression. Some people call depression a sickness. Not just something that, are suffering from depression or are feeling a little depressed. But let me ask you something. How many of you could identify the signs of depression? Is it a disease? You know, we have something called depression. We have severe depression. You have psychotic depression. Most people do a sort of self-diagnosis if they're feeling sad or antisocial and they say they're depressed. But are there other signs that may be present, let's say in our loved one's behavior, that everyone around may miss?
Absolutely.
How about decrease in their speech, where they just cut out everybody and stop talking? Unexplained weight gain or decrease in their weight?
Yes.
Inability to focus or concentrate. Difficulty remembering certain things. I've heard people describe themselves as worthless. while
Hopeless.
others having thoughts about suicide.
Worthless,
All of these things
hopeless.
stem from depression.
Hmm.
So sometimes if you're just feeling a little sad, I don't think it's a healthy thing to even describe yourself as depressed.
No,
Because I don't think you
no.
may really understand the depths of this thing, the darkness of depression. I cannot even begin to count the amount of times I've gotten up and to trust me, I didn't feel like doing a damn thing.
Like you wake
There
up
are
in the
times when
morning.
I've turned off my phone, sometime for days. Or the time come to pay the bill and I just don't pay the bill and let the phone cut off.
Oh, that is what did happen the last time.
A lot of times. A lot of times.
Oh, okay, okay.
For days. Or sometimes I just let it ring out without answering because sometimes I don't really want to be bothered. Would I go as far to say I was depressed?
No.
Yeah.
Would you?
Was I suffering from depression? I don't know. Not many people have what it takes to be their own hero and pull themselves out of the rut and begin to live life again. Some people turn to alcohol or other illicit drugs and then find themselves spiraling out of control.
Yes. Yes.
Other people turn into suicide. This fellow that I talk about, depression, it generally shows up in death. Whenever there's death around. It took me several years to accept and deal with the reality of the death of my mother. Something that I had never given any thought to until the day she passed. I mean, come on. She was what, 51 years old?
Wow.
I always imagine her living a long, fruitful life, growing old and seeing her grandchildren and, seeing her grandchildren having children of their own. But she made an early exit. I mean, right now, I'm 58. I outlived my mother.
Mercy.
Then we have this other ugly fella called divorce.
Awful. Awful.
The word divorce for me, it had no meaning while growing up. I would hear other children lament about their parents getting divorced, and I was like, psh. Because I had no knowledge of what it was like living in a home with both mother and father. I would often minimize the pain and depression of others. The depression that other people experience when they would mention the word breakup or divorce. I showed very little or absolutely no empathy. As far as I could see it now, maybe I was incapable. But boy, let me tell you something. When divorce came knocking at my door, you see, when divorce came knocking at my door, it was as devastating to me as experiencing a death.
Absolutely.
And burial of
Absolutely.
Every symptom of depression I experienced, including the morbid thoughts. I gained weight. I stopped taking care of myself.
Wait, hold up.
None of my goals seem worthy anymore because all of my visions of success at that time were tied to that individual. And since they opted out of the equation, I lost my zeal to continue striving. I lost it. So let me ask you something, panelists.
Yeah.
We only 3 deep tonight, but tell me something. Has any one of you here ever been overcome by depression?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The time that I was physically separated from my then husband prior to the official divorce, that was some of the hardest days I have ever spent. If I didn't need to get up to go to the bathroom, I probably wouldn't get up at all. That level of depression, that if I had been seeing a physician, even just a primary physician or something, not a mental health specialist per se, I'm sure I would have been referred to a mental health specialist and probably would have been prescribed medications because I just felt what you've already stated, just completely hopeless, helpless, and just not even wanting to move, much less There was a period of time there that I wasn't working and I had to push mentally first and then push myself to physically get up and go and find employment. It was a short period of time, but it felt like years. It really did. It really felt like a long time. It was absolutely the worst thing I've ever experienced. And the depression came after the divorce, which came after the death of my mother. So for me, it was a
Compounded.
true trifecta. When you get married, and I think the two of you may agree, you get married with the thought that this is my life partner. Through thick and thin, I'm willing to do the work. I don't look for quick escape routes. And to find that I finally had to say, oh gosh, we're not going to make it. Devastating. Absolutely devastating to me. Absolutely. And it is a true death, a death of a relationship, whether it's the person lost their lives or a death due to a legal finalization of a marriage. That is just the most horrendous thing I've ever experienced. And it's a true death. Really is.
Wow. Okay. Well, I would probably jump on the death aspect first, but when you asked about depression,
Mhm.
In reference to depression, for me, it would be occasional. It would be something that you just have like a down day, and it may be caused by, could be, you're going through a few things. Some weeks you have certain things you have to deal with, and it's not really all joyous things.
But wait, you say a down day?
A down week. Did I say down day?
I had like a down year.
Man.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm just giving it. You see,
I had like a down year, boss.
We're keeping it real.
I'm just giving an example of when I may experience it. I don't think I went to the point of saying that I'm overcome by it, but I think it's something that I've learned to. I use it as a benchmark, or learn to use it as a benchmark. I think when I get to that point, I decide, you know what, I need to just take a break. And I guess that's what when Curtis talks about not answering the phone and just letting it ring and all of that, you sort of just reach a stage where you just need to just debrief, take a break, just do what just needs to be done. Everything else could just wait and chill until you have the energy and the zeal to get back to those things.
Sometimes the energy and zeal does not come back, and that's where I understand that for some people that works to be on your own, but for some it doesn't. If you don't have family and friends checking on you, you may want to use the word nag, but I don't, not really, because they're showing that they care. Check on you, whether it's by text, stopping by, whatever method. Check and see how you doing. Anything I can do for you? There are some people in your life that treat, let's say in this case, divorce. Treat it like it's some kind of disease, as if they're in their happy relationship, or they're in a relationship, maybe not so happy, but they're in a relationship and they're doing their best. And they treat your divorce as if it's something that can be transmitted like a disease. I'm serious. I'm very serious. And they don't want to talk about it. And that's exactly what you do need to talk. You do need to talk to someone. It does not have to be a mental health specialist. It can be. But you can talk to a good friend. A good friend will know when to text you, when to call you. You know what I mean? Check up on you. Make sure that you're doing some basic stuff. Make sure you're eating.
Sometimes, Karen, you don't really want to hear anything from anybody.
I got you.
No, people try. Sometimes they give you the best advice in the world, and no matter what it is they're saying, you're just looking at them like, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's easy for you to say that, but you don't understand.
You're looking on the outside, and I didn't laugh at the situation. So I didn't want, I hope I didn't offend you with my giggle, but the giggle wasn't really laughing at.
No, not at all.
The giggle was thinking of being in a situation where someone close to you is going through this situation.
Right.
And I giggle a little bit because let's say it was a lady sharing that she's going through the divorce, and now she's looking at me on the table as a next problem over there. You men,
we don't all we don't all come out of relationships hating men. That's a myth.
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying though is that sometimes it's sort of
but the Son of God, please.
They lash out because now there's a chance that you're a friend of the guy. And now you're sort of caught in the middle, and then now she'll be coming at you men does do this, and why other men does do that, and why
we don't all do that. We don't all do that. But I'm gonna touch on what you just said, Sam. And I think when couples are getting divorced, couples tend to hang with other couples. It's just it just flows better. You get along, you understand what the others are going through. But when one couple is getting divorced, people tend to choose sides. And I wish people would wake up and realize you've built a friendship for 5, 10, maybe more years. All of a sudden, you're choosing his side versus her side, and you need to sort of stay as neutral as possible and try to be supportive. If you really had a friendship with both people, you need to be supportive of both people. Regardless of what led to the divorce.
As the friend, sometimes you're in the midst of everything, and you know the dirt, you know the juicy stuff, and the other person over there complaining and carrying on like if they hold
they're angels. They're angels.
Yeah,
right.
You know the truth.
Right. Yeah.
You know the truth. So sometimes you just have to be like, yo, no,
well, I'm not.
I had a situation where the couple that was going through the issue, we all were in school together at some point, and I told both of them the same thing. I said, look guys, well, this was in separate situations, and I said, look, I'm friends with both of you. I can't really pick a side. I say, I'm here for you. You need me to help you with something, just talk to me and we'll sort it out. But then I just said, look, I have to be neutral on this because
you have to be.
All of us pretty much at some point grew up together. We were at colleagues or classmates and things like that. So I just shared, hey, you know what? I had to be neutral here. But it can get really hairy, and
yes,
then
it can.
You have to read the person too, because sometimes you have to read, okay, should you say something at this point? So it may not be that you're treating them as if they have a disease. You have to also you got to test the waters too to see, okay, is this where we could talk a little bit, or you just need a shoulder to lean on. You just need me to sit over here while you sit over there and complain. It's you have to read.
And you can ask the questions. They know, each person knows what they need. You can ask, what do you need me to do? Literally what you just said. Do you just need me to sit here? Do you just need to lean on me for an hour, 2 hours, whatever? Do you just need me to listen when you call and not really comment?
So but the other thing is, I'm sorry, I thought you were.
Go ahead. I'm done.
But what the other thing I was going to ask too is, when they get to that point, as a friend, are you supposed to still try to encourage them to stay together, or are you going to either not even
It's not your
Just kind
job.
of, you guys want to
It's
say,
not your
oh,
job.
actually
Your
going,
job is to be a friend.
just a friend.
Just a friend. Just be
Just
the
a friend.
support. They decided that to become girlfriend, boyfriend. They
Mm.
decided to take it further to marriage. They can decide when it's the right time for them to call it quits. I don't think you need to stick your nose in and give advice that is not asked of you. That is my opinion on it.
Yeah, but
Because
sometimes
sometimes
it's asked.
that alienates you as a friend, and they may need you and they may not reach out because they may feel that you're judging or you're going to give them advice they don't want. I've
Mm.
seen it. I've seen it.
All right, well, because
So
now, what if they go through with it and 2 years later they come and they tell you, boy, why you didn't tell me so, or boy, why you say so to me?
But
I
like Karen says, sometimes you just have to ask what they need from
what
you.
do you
So
need?
this way
What do you
you
need? What
show
do you
that
need?
you
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in the right place
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
Mm-hmm.
also
don't offer the
when you do
advice,
that,
and then
you gotta protect
you end up
yourself.
being the enemy for saying the
Right.
wrong thing.
You're right. Because the moment you start to give advice, Sam, oh, let's say Barbara. Barbara, I think you should stay with John. You never know that John beat me for 10 years. Oh, oh, didn't know that. So stay in your lane and be the friend. What do you need me to do for you? If they have nothing to say, then they have nothing to come back at you with. I offered to be here for you. I've been here. I've checked on you. I've called. I've texted. I've tried stopping by, but I know you don't really want to see anyone right now. I have to respect that. I've done my very best. Don't come back to me 2 years later and say I shoulda, coulda, woulda. The should haves, could haves, and would haves don't work, no matter what we're talking about.
Mm.
I had a friend who had leave nameless at this point in time. She she would begin complaining about her boyfriend. He's this, he's that, he's the next, he's this, he's no good, and the minute you chime in and say, well, yeah, he does this, she say, well, he not really that bad. And then she starts
That's
to
my
pick up for
point.
him.
That's my point.
And if you say anything negative about him, she turn on you. So after experiencing that a couple of times, I'm like,
I'm here for you. I'm here.
I
What
just
do you
let you
need?
talk. Because the minute you say, he went from being the worst thing that God ever created
So an
to
angel.
something that, yeah, he is so bad. No, don't say that. Don't say that. You don't know him. You don't know him. Don't say that. So
Oh God.
sometimes you just have to shut your mouth.
Yeah, so and the other thing too is that I think depression also lingers a little bit there because the person is down, or you are down going through the situation or going through the stage phases, the phases of it. But the challenge with depression though is it had you in some aspects you don't know how to recognize it.
Oh.
Because
But
some people dress it up.
you can only dress it for a short period of time. Just like we've spoken about other things in the past, you can only dress it up for a short period of time. It comes through like water through leaves, I promise you, because the moment that you find that you cannot get out of your bed, you're barely eating, or you go in the opposite end and you're eating like a ravenous animal and putting on weight like you've never had in your life.
Hey,
You're not
any all
combing your.
ever go through the not bathing thing?
Wala naman.
Hey, no. Don't forget this. The not bathing, or that's just me.
You're not bathe for 2-3 days
Wait,
in
you
certain
do
places,
babe?
or yeah. I say, well, nobody know they're around for smell. Me what the heck me I put what me I wash up for. Anyway, but it comes through, and it doesn't come through quickly. It's a bit slow. It's a bit insidious, right? But the moment you realize that you're looking in the mirror and you barely recognize yourself because you're not even fixing your hair, you're not making sure your clothes are clean and fresh. Your body is not fresh. Your clothes don't look right. You look a bit disheveled. You're going through the motions of going to work. You might, yeah, you can still function. You get up, you go to work, and you come back. The moment you get behind closed doors, no energy, no
But when
desire,
you
no
lost
motivation.
the reason to live, or well, not let me say it that way. The reason to be motivated to do things has been challenged, or
Changed.
has been changed.
Hmm.
Um, but the other thing too is well, before I even jump there, when Curtis talk about not bathing, I remember that remind me of coming down to finals when I was going to New York City Tech in New York there. When you're coming down to finals and you have assignments to turn in, and
Stress.
there's tests to do, and you're stressed.
Yeah, stress.
People you see looking clean cut all through the semester,
And not do a thing.
you see coming down to the final 2 weeks, man growing beard, the hair long, the clothes ramful, they only coming in. Yeah, people who are, yeah, you have any smell good or wrong, or they smell good, it's real hardcore. And
Very hard.
that is brought on by the school putting, the school instructors putting the students through an experience. So it's temporary. But just imagine if you're dealing with something and now it's beyond just,
Lingering.
we're doing this
Lingering.
because we have finals, or we're doing this because this happened, or we're doing this because we had a death in the family. Now you're depressed for a certain thing, and now you have to go through that.
You
Go through different phases.
you have to go through grieving. And if
Mm.
people talk more about it, adjusting to a life without your person, to see a shared path that you had with someone suddenly, in certain cases, come to a dead stop. That incredible sense of loss and failure,
Mm.
all of the topics that we're discussing, it's like a true death. And
Mm.
people don't talk enough about it. That's why we decided to bring it to the platform. The more you talk about it, the more you'll realize how much you have in common with the other person. If you've gone through it in the last couple of years, I promise you, you can sit down with someone who's about to make that decision and say, you know what? I want you to watch out for this. When you realize that you're not getting up the way you normally do, you stop playing the sports, you stop hanging out with your friends, you stop talking on the phone. No, this is on its way, and it's going to hit you like a brick wall.
Mm.
That's the conversation that needs, hi. That's the conversation that needs to be had, because it tends to be a bit insidious, and then it just bam, it's in your face, and then you realize, uh-oh, what's happening here? But if people were talking to you about it, telling you what to expect, telling you it's normal
Mm-hmm.
to feel this way, telling you that you're grieving and it's okay, telling you get up and do what you need to do. Hi,
But you
Dr.
see,
Judith.
Welcome,
Hey,
Dr. Judith. How you doing?
hello.
good night, good night,
Sorry,
good night, good evening, good evening, good
sorry.
evening,
Yeah, I'm
good
so
evening.
sorry.
There's no
Welcome,
need to be sorry.
welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I want
Take your drink, man.
Judith, I want you to pick up on this after. One of the things that what a lot of people tend to rush through, especially in situations of death, they don't realize that there are certain stages that you have to go through, or that you go through sometime without even knowing or volunteering for it. The first thing for me, I experienced the stages when I found out about the death of my mother. It was denial. No, you're wrong. Maybe by the time I get over there, she might still be alive, just, waking up out of some concussion or something like that. You deny it, that no, this can't be happening. And then there's anger. You get vexed, you get mad at the world, and you want to say, well, like anybody else, why it had to be them? then you start bargaining. You start to bargain with the Lord. If only I could see her for one more day, have another conversation, Lord, I would do this. I would become this type of person. Just let me get one more day, one more day. And then you go into this state of depression, which is that other ugly fella we're talking about. You go into that state of depression, dealing with death. And like I said, it shows up. And then the final stage of death or dying is acceptance.
Acceptance.
And that comes for most of us, or for me at least, once that body was interned. And now you accept the fact that, yes, they are gone. And now you have to deal with all of the things that come after. But at least you accept it at that point in time.
There's a space.
There's a space
that's there.
Yeah. You can never fill that void, but you accept the fact that, yes, this person is gone. And you realize now you have to move on, live with it, however you choose to deal with it, but some sort of acceptance.
But maybe Dr. Judith can explain to us that these stages can be back and forth. Even when you think you've recovered, some minor reminder of something, bam, send you spinning out again. So this is a constant flux. Go ahead, Dr. Judith. Sorry, then.
Everything. Good evening, first of all. Sorry I'm late, but I fell asleep. Woke up after 9, and I said, no, I gotta go take a shower first. Anyway, I didn't want you to smell me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
just smell it through the camera, you see?
Yes, sir. Yeah, these days you never know. But it's so amazing what you all are talking about that come on at this point. Reasoning with my son, reasoning with myself about this, being allowed to grieve. The stages, like you said, and like you said, Karin, you go back and forth. 1 minute you accept it, then you deny it, and then you're not so angry anymore. Then you get angry again. Sometimes you get angrier, and then you say, okay, it's accepted. And then, like you said, something happens, and then maybe somebody else dies, whatever it might be, and then you get sick. I went to the doctor the other day to get a checkup because I've been so lethargic and weak. Don't want to get out of bed sometimes, which is very unlike me. And the doctor said, he asked me a simple thing. He said, do you think you're feeling guilt? Serious question, because even in the death of someone, you can feel guilty. Several angles from that guilt thing. You didn't treat them well enough. The last conversation you had with them was bad. Like Curtis said, you wish you had done things a little differently. Can I get one more chance to redo? That kind of guilt. And then this COVID thing has brought, whether people know it or admit it or not, has brought people to a lot of guilt. Look at how many people died and I made it. It is very subconscious. It's not survivor guilt. So you start thinking, not consciously, not unconsciously, you start saying, how come I made it? How come 400,000 people died and Judith is here? So there's so many dimensions to it. And like you said, it's that one prong, whether if the prong, that prong is denial. It has little pieces hanging off of that. And then by the time you get to kind of accepting it, that has prongs hanging off of that. So it doesn't come just with denial. And then, it comes with other things, and it comes with people, and it comes with other situations. And one of the worst things we can do, and I've seen it happens to me because I'm a strong woman, and strong women don't cry for long.
I can do it all.
Yes, and they get over it fast, I am a woman, hear me roar, I don't roar.
Roar.
I purr, and sometimes I'm strong in the Lord. But one of the worst things to tell people is that it's time to get over it. Really?
Can I chime in on that? Can I chime in on that? After my mom's death, took her home to bury her because I wanted her to be on family land. And I had an uncle I was staying with right after the interment in another parish. And I went, and he said, in his lovely British accent, I need to get over it. I packed my things. I called every taxi cab company I could find. It was either that or disrespect my uncle in his home. I left first thing in the morning because I couldn't get a taxi out that late in the evening. I tell you what, people don't realize the harm they do by being cavalier to someone who is in pain and is grieving.
But
You
Karen,
do not have the right to determine the length of somebody's grieving.
But
You
let me
don't.
say this again. Their behavior might be very subconscious. They're not fully aware, and perhaps the reason why they do that because they don't know how to grieve properly. Well, I use properly. I leave properly out. They don't know how to grieve. They don't want to grieve publicly. They don't want you to see them crying. They don't want you to see them dealing with our mortality. People, there are a lot of reasons why people will tell you to stop grieving because the next thing I'm going to start grieving too, and next thing I'm going to start bawling, and I don't want anybody to see the nose knot and everything come out. So just stop it, and then I'm going to tell you in those terms. But basically, when we're afraid to confront our own negative feelings, we don't want anybody else confronting theirs because soon we might join them, and then all the vulnerability. So sometimes when people tell you that stuff, it's because they can't cope. See,
when they say it, are we supposed to just get offended initially, or are we supposed to try to understand where they're coming from?
And you know something, Sam, that is a key thing that I try to encourage people to do daily, whether it's grieving or not. It is hard when you're feeling something. The feelings is the problem. When you're feeling something and you're seeing your mother's face and you see your daddy's face and you remember this, you don't want to hear a blouse and skirt about you. Get over it. You don't want to hear that. You want somebody sympathetic. You want somebody empathetic. You want somebody to say, listen, I don't know. And these are some of the nicest, some of the most decent human beings are the ones that say, I don't know how you feel. I never had a relationship with my mom. I never had a relationship with my dad. Me and my siblings never got along. So them dying, it hurts a little bit. But what you're feeling, I don't know what that feels like. That's honest. It frees you to feel more and for you to do what you need to do for the next stage. But so many people, see, in this country and the world now, the biggest part of mental health issue is denial. We deny everything that is uncomfortable.
You said that before, yeah.
Yeah. So if I don't want to hear it, I don't want you to be crying about it.
Yeah.
And then I never had a good relationship with her anyway. I never see her anyway. Remember, you're seeing her as mother. He's seeing her as sister. Different relationships. Different things come from those relationships. So you don't know what kind of brother-sister relationship they had. But you're seeing I'm mother.
They were close, but I just wanted to add to what you've already stated is that when you're in the midst, and depends on the person who has died or whatever the situation, when you're in the midst of it, you're not able to really process, there, all you hear, you just feel the brunt of that statement or maybe an action just hit you. And you're like, I'm down already. Where you kick me when me down for?
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you there. I don't think it's that you're not able to. I think what it is that you are less likely to process anything because you deal with emotions. Because I'm going to listen. When my father died, my father was my father. I adored him. I had a breakdown after he died. Why? Because after he died and during all the plans, it was left to me to write the eulogy. It was left for me to do this and do that. So at the Dovecot funeral, where they buried him, all my siblings walking around, nobody hugging each other. So what did I do? I went to everybody and hugged them up, and I hugged up this one and I hugged up that one. So it's 9 of us at that point, 8. So I hugged everybody because I wanted continuity. I wanted attachment. They wouldn't do it to each other. So I did it with them.
But Judith, sometimes that is the thing that make people start ball. Sometimes we put up this defense mechanism.
But I want them to ball. That's why I help them. Then you gotta get it out. Listen, when I went back to New York, when I went back to New York, nobody was there to help me. I had a little mini breakdown and I didn't realize it because now my grief, see, I couldn't delay it anymore. I couldn't put it off anymore. Now I had to go through. And I think when I first tuned in, Karin was saying it. You've got to go through the stages, and Curtis said it. You've got to go through it because, listen, it's unfinished business. If you don't go through it, I promise you, an incident, a person, a sore, a cut will bring you right back, and you have to. And we waste time, so we have to go through. I'm sorry, Sam. What were you saying?
No. I just wanted to know in the moment, were you the closest child to your dad, or
You know what? I was the closest verbal child. I never thought of that before. Never until this moment. I was the close, but then again, I'm the closest verbal member of my family. I talk to everybody. And if something happened, I'm the one to say, well, don't you want to talk about it? And like, shut up. We don't want to talk about it. Leave it alone. So I was the closest verbal one. I was the one who talked to everybody. This one might not be or squeamish about, but I would go in. You could have a war going on. Judith go walk in. That's where they get that strength, that strength thing. But let me tell you, I'm still going through. I found out that this virus thing, it actually deposits something in your brain. I heard it, and I am having the after effects of it. It's kicking my butt. Mentally, it is challenging me. So I'm always pretty aware. Well, I got to stay double, triple aware now because even in sentences sometimes I have to stop and think about what I'm going to say because I'm saying it incorrectly in terms of language. So Tyron said to me today, Mom, when are you going to stop? Something about being tired. I said, let me explain this to you. I kick your behind. I said, until this thing leaves me alone. Until I'm able, and I know he doesn't really mean it because he saw me go through it and he went through it, but it's the perception of me. I'm a strong woman. He sees me as, now that this has happened, he's afraid of me dying. He's watching me. He's paying a lot of attention to me. And then a young friend of his, 23 years old, 6'5", died this past weekend in a car accident.
Oh,
wow.
So we're talking about people, guys. Some teenager just killed himself this past weekend. People, and I think I heard it as I came on. Curtis was saying, or Karin, the bottom line is that we got to pay more attention to people. I'm doing commentary on WAVS in the mornings now, Monday and Wednesday for Winston, because Winston, they took him off the air because he's running for re-election. And they don't think he should be on the air and have that advantage over his opponents. So I do commentary Mondays and Wednesdays. And that's one of the things I talked about Monday. Yeah. And one of the things I'm talking about, pay attention to each other, call each other, check on people. People are feeling isolated. People are feeling, remember, you don't go here, you don't go there. So I'm going away this next weekend for my birthday. I'm actually going to go to the beach. I don't.
You're an Aquarian too?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're getting along.
Getting along. It's a process.
All right. But what I wanted to add, I'm going to share a little personal. So when my with my parents, when my dad passed on, my mother actually grieved until she died.
Yeah, happens.
And he died in 2004, and she died, I think, in 2016. And every time I went home, or sometimes we'd be on the phone, whatever, however we'll communicate, we had to talk about Daddy some way in that mix. We had to talk about him. And then when I went home, we had to talk about him. Why did he have to leave, and why. And so when we spoke about this sentiment of folks saying, you know what, it's time to get over it. I mean, how am I going to tell her?
Right.
I wanted to add something to that. And I feel really strongly about it because I know I did the same thing, and I wish someone had talked to me about it. We tend to focus after a death even after divorce, but after a death, we tend to focus on the moments, days, weeks, whatever, right before the death, rather than the beautiful life that was lived by that person. And it takes some of us longer than others. It takes us a while to get back to looking at the life of the person rather than the moment leading to their death.
Right.
And that keeps us in the hole longer.
Yeah,
If we can't,
true.
we're so tunnel vision. Oh, he was sick for 2 years. But what about the 50 something years that this person
Right. I
was
agree.
living a fantastic life?
Yeah, yeah. That is, Karen, that is a key thing. We couldn't go to the funeral in Florida for my mom, so we did the virtual thing, and so we sent in videos to Florida, and they put it on. In my video, and I now that you say it, I didn't think about it before, but in my video, I said my mom and I had some issues. So that's real. That happened in our lives. We had some issues. But by the grace of God, we were able to come together. And we ended up not just mother and daughter, we ended up friends. And I said in the time, I said, but it's okay, my big friend. We'll see each other again, my big friend. My mother was a friend, but I have to humanize her, not just this dead person. I never thought about it the way you just said it, is that I always talk about my mom. I'm sure Curtis has heard stories. Curtis, that's another story. Anyway,
But what I wanted to add to is that the funerals I've been to, when they use the term celebrate the life of,
right.
it actually changes the dynamic.
Yes, it does.
When you go there, because now you're not just thinking about the here and now. You go back into memory lane, and you can tap into the different things that you experienced with the person, and then so instead of it just being about a burial, now it's celebrating the life of.
True. And you know what? My mom was a humorous woman. My mom could, let me tell you, she'd go into the emergency room for medical reasons. And by the time she get through with the what do you call the people on the ambulance?
The
EMTs?
EMTs. By the time she get through with them, she charm everybody. She said, "What a handsome young man you are."
Was she born in May by any chance?
No, October. She's full of lyrics.
Stop it.
But you know something? I did the same thing. I went to the doctor the other day, and the doctor said to me, he's from Europe. This is a guy who some time ago his practice broke up, so he lost his job. So I went to see him. This is about a year and a half ago, and he said to me, "Miss Barnes, I lose my job. I never been fired. I come to America. I never get fired. I lose my job." I said, "Dr. V, you gonna be okay, man. Now I'm here paying him for me, and he have to counsel him." So then he says, "You know those commercials on television where they have the repo for the cars? I thought they were gonna repo my car." Some guy laughing. So haven't seen him in a while. Went to see him the other day on the 2nd, and that man is talking to me, and all he said, and Curtis knows this side of me. He said to me, "So, when are you having palpitations?" And as just like my mom, as adroitly as anything, I just said to him, "Only when I see you." This guy, remember, he's European. He dropped his head. He turned red. He started smiling. He said, "Is that a good thing?" I said, "I think so." Let me tell you, he would not leave that examining room until he thanked me 3 more times. It made his day. So, like Karin, listen, that's a powerful point that you brought up. We see that again. I give people gifts for no particular reason. I will give you something. It's not your birthday. It's not Christmas. So I'm of that attitude. Celebrate people now. Tell them. I told my mom it's an honor to take care of her. That made her feel like a queen. We've got great stuff.
On a previous show, Sam had mentioned something, and it hit me then like a jackhammer, because he said, I don't remember the title of the show, but anyway, the essence was to have videotapes, audio, video, that soothes you in ways that you cannot imagine. When my mom died, I remember we had a closet with those old style answering machines, and she used to leave all type of weird little, cute little messages on me. I went through that closet like a ravenous animal, looking for something to hear her voice.
Right.
The fact that you can see that person's eyes open again, see them smile the way only that person can for you,
Yeah.
and to hear their voice. I
Mm.
almost lost my mind looking for a recording. I kid you not. I searched through every little cassette, because those are the real old style ones
Right.
with the
I
actual
remember.
cassette.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to lose it. I thought I was going to lose it. Took me a while to
As,
adjust.
you, as you say that, my mind ran back to Bob Marley's funeral. And I remember Ziggy and Stephen, they're young, you know, and at part of the funeral they play one of Bob's, like they just play like a little piece, and the place just light up, man. The church just light up just to hear Bob's voice. You know, it does something to you. And I did record my mom while I was told. You know, I do have some recordings.
The most precious things ever.
I have a video of my mom. So, and I also, I have this great gift. Maybe it's not sometimes, of being able to photographic memory. I can literally see people when they're not around, but I can hear her, and I'm grateful for that. And I hear Judith. I can.
You know, I do
let me,
hear my dad. I do hear my dad speaking to me though. Like if I have to make some sort of a choice, or I'm in a valuable decision, I literally hear my dad. You know, like the voice. But of course, it's not. You know, it's not like he's presently saying something. But
right.
maybe he was counseling me about something in the past, and that counsel will come
right back. Yeah.
Right at that moment, you hear the voice, you hear the sternness, you hear the everything,
inflection.
And like you're like, wow, okay, yes, yeah, we.
Well, let's go deeper on this one here, man. I want you all to tell me about that feeling of hopelessness. We want to go back to the relationship part, Judith. You ain't covered that part. We ain't just talking about the debt. We talking about divorce also. You didn't get a chance to go into that.
Right.
Talk to us about that feeling of hopelessness. Because everybody here went through that. We went through the debt, we went through the depression, we went through the divorce. And since you came in late, talk to us about that feeling of hopelessness at that juncture.
I wasn't late for the divorce though. I did it twice. But listen, divorce, I went through a stage of anger. Because I had in my mind, let me start over. Relationship ending, whether it ends in physical death or emotional, spiritual death, is death. That's just real.
Yes.
The person not physically being gone doesn't make it. As a matter of fact, it might make it worse because you might have to see them and yet face the death of the relationship. And they might have forgiven and forgotten, and then you haven't gotten over it, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing, Curtis?" I said, "Leave me alone. I've grieved over this. Just don't touch me." And you know, she's ready to give you a little choops and everything. Go choops your husband. Leave me alone, because you haven't finished that. You haven't cleared up that yet. Same thing for a woman. So I think, again, one of the most powerful things that we have in life is to be able to say, I am hurting. Even if you tell the person, say, listen, I was talking to a guy 2 years ago, talking, he was one of those text geniuses, you know. He texts me. And after a while I said, you know, this guy playing games. His texting is a game. So finally I said to him, one day I said, listen, why don't we just be friends? Forget about trying to get into this romance, because I'm a pragmatist. I ain't got all this time to be wasted. You know what that man wrote me back and said? He texted me back and he said, "Oh, I don't think you're over me enough for us to become friends." Why the blouse and skirt him said that to me? And I really did love him. I admired him, whatever. Let me tell you something. Because I'm healthier than I used to be, and because I've been through 2 divorces, I don't, TD Jake says, yeah, 2.
2.
The last one was a joke business. That was a joke business from beginning to end. The first one was a real marriage and a real divorce.
The first one was really. Second one was.
Listen, man.
Keep it real.
Somebody told me.
Rebound?
No, rebound business. I was definitive. I knew what I was doing. He was 13 years younger than me. Somebody said to me at church one day, "Oh, Stella." So I looked at her because, something on register. She called me. Please. Stella got a groove back. You know what I said to her? Being me in my nice short skirt and my fancy legs and everything. I turned and looked at her in church. not short, rude, nice shorts. I turned and I looked at her. I said, when she said Stella, I said, I never lost my groove. And I wasn't playing. I never lost. You call me Stella. Listen, when I wear flat shoes or no shoes or whatever, I am a sexy woman. No, nobody has to agree with me, but I am a sexy woman. So when she said that to me, I said, I never lost my groove. She held her head and like, oh Lord, no. So I think he got confused and didn't realize who I really was. And this younger guy, he started to try to relate to me like he gonna reject me. I said, no, life is simple. I got something for you.
So hold on. He was 13 years
younger.
1-3.
1-3. But I tell you something.
Right to the cradle and take him out.
That was directly to the womb. Listen, the bottom line is that people understand it's not age alone, personality. I'm full of personality. I got it from the Lord. I got it from my mom. I got it from my dad. And I got my own share. So whatever it was, that was in me, that drew him to me, it scared the daylights out of him. Forget about him. Sorry, he's gone. So I got here to Georgia. It cost me more to divorce him than it cost to marry him. So
gosh.
So was it depressing to let this?
No, that one wasn't depressing. That was just reality check and boom, finish. No, there was no. Listen, I did not want to fornicate. I wanted to be married. First of all, I did care for him, and he cared for me. But I wanted to be married. I didn't want to have sex outside of marriage. Listen, this is just real. So I married him. But the pieces in our relationship were so crazy. And I knew better.
So he had a depression. You weren't depressed to tie it off. He had a depression.
I give you a quick example. We were driving somewhere going towards Miami one day, and he was talking some foolishness to me. You see, he liked ganja and other assortments of entertainment that I don't like. So we're driving. I'm driving, and he's saying to me, I said, I'll drop you off when you get your stuff, because I'm crazy. I said, I'll drop you off when you get your stuff. Every time we're playing, he said to me, What? I said, I'll drop you off. I said, but don't be playing the fool with me. So then as I'm driving, you know what he says to me? You frustrate me. And he didn't say frustrate. He put an L in me. He said, frustrated. I think that was the last time I saw him. I don't have a lot of energy for crazy, okay? Unless it's fun crazy. So let's go back to
he was so frustrated that he put an L in the word?
That's what he said. He said, you flush, like you flush the toilet. He said, you frustrate me. That's what he said. So this other guy sent me the text that said, he said that, I said, because it's a waste of energy. I liked him. I cared deeply for him. He supposedly cared for me fine. But when he said to me, we can't be friends because I have not gotten over him yet. Why did he say that to Judith Barnes? And I'm already kind of off the chain. So I wrote him back immediately. At first I looked at the phone. I went like this. I said, no, he didn't write that. And I did it a couple times. I said, no, he didn't say that.
So Judith, besides being cold and calculated.
No.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Besides being cold and calculated as you are describing yourself to be at this point in time, you or anyone else on the panel, please give us some advice on how could I put this? How you really get over the end of a relationship?
You don't. That's the thing. You don't really like the physical death of a loved one. First of all, it's a process, but you
What's
must.
the process? Tell us.
The process is the same as physical death. It's anger.
I know some people hurting right now. Asking for a friend, like Sam used to say. Asking for a friend. I know some people who are hurting. They sort of hop from one relationship into the next one. Right. They take time to heal from the previous one, and they're hurting. But sometimes, the advice in all my wisdom and understanding never seem to be enough. So help me, help them. Denial.
They're denying that they're hurting. They're saying usually it's the other person. It was them, it was her, it was him. They didn't do anything wrong. They gave it their best, and this person never appreciate them, whatever the lies we tell ourselves. And the best, I'm telling you what I know, the best thing is to get angry, feel the anger, and say, imagine I gave the best of this blouse and skirt, and this man just go on and treat me bad. When you do that in Jamaican or American language, whichever language you choose to do it in, you say, I am angry. I was angry when I got real divorce, real marriage. I was angry. I don't break things. I'm not that kind of person. I hit a desk in my room and I was like, what is this?
What did desk do you? What did desk do you?
Well, okay. See, I love that, because my father taught us, what did the desk do to you? The desk didn't have nothing to do with you. You're the one that screwed up. So you have to admit it's dead or dying, because some marriages die over a period of time and divorce doesn't come right away. Like physical death, sometimes somebody gets ill and they get sicker and they stay around. Marriages ail for a while and then somebody says enough and they go get divorced. That final act doesn't end the relationship. What it does, it ends the legal entanglement, but the emotional entanglement will exist forever. Sam talked about his mom.
Karin, you always talk about seller's remorse.
Right?
Yes, when people want to do an upgrade, at what they consider to be an upgrade in the next relationship, whether it's a physical thing or financial or lifestyle, whatever, and they think, oh, that's it. Oh yeah, I'm going for that. I've seen it. Not in my case. And, a couple of months in, I said, 6 months. Within 6 months, they're like, oh, goodness, what did I do? They have all types of complaints and they're angry, but they're not angry at themselves. They're angry at the person that they left. They're not looking in the mirror and say, you know what? I could have worked this out. I could have tried to do A, B, C. They're not doing that. They're not processing. They're immediately just angry. They're angrier than when that initial relationship ended. And they're not seeing their role in whatever decisions they've made.
Listen, they get angry and like curse. Then they start bargaining. And I wonder, and I want to try and see if you could get them back. And you can talk to her for me, man, and talk to me, man. I realize I messed up, But, they mess up too. But can you talk to them for me? So you bargain. And the same things that physical death, you go through all those stages and you say, okay, I'm done. I don't want to, I'm over that. I'm a divorce, forget about it. Then you see the person someplace or you hear their voice. That look a dirty something. You say, man, oh, sorry. I used to love them so much. All this angst and all this stuff goes on. What makes divorce worse is that the person is alive. And sometimes you wish they were dead. And I don't wish that on anybody. But some people wish the person was dead.
I understand your point. Not that you wish that they were dead, but you wish the situation was dead.
Right.
Or you wish you never met them.
Some people like to take them out. Some people like to take them out. Some people like, listen, I want to just take them out because it's just too much. But it's a death and it's a real death. And Mr. Henry, For the person that wants you to ask the question, it is a process. Just like when somebody physical died, you got to go through it, because guess what? If you don't go through it, you're gonna go and repeat it with somebody else.
Stuck.
And you don't find out what you did wrong. That's the biggest piece.
But let me share this with you all. I gave a Toastmasters speech a few months back, and I wrote something in there. The title of the speech was Mistakes. And I spoke about the way some people view, they tend to run back into a relationship because somehow they feel like the person who hurt them is the same person to heal them. It's almost like a child. You know, when you spank a child, they hug you for comfort. So somehow, even as adults, a lot of people tend to run back into toxic relationships, thinking somehow that the person who hurt them will be the person to heal them. Because we know in every snake bite, in every venom, there's the anti-venom.
Right.
So we keep going back, ingesting that poison, looking for the anti-venom, and in the process of that, we just keep hurting ourselves.
But we go back also because we are used to the pain. We're used to the venom. And it's better than nothing. And we are afraid of the new. So the old has been tried. It's crazy, but at least people say, at least I know him nasty, but I know our nastiness. And the bottom line is, nasty only gets nastier a lot of the time.
Dr. Judith.
Yes.
Why do some people, I understand not dealing with or allowing the process of grieving to go through, and so they get stuck in a rut. The anger is something that I have not been able to fathom, to weigh, to understand thoroughly. They are angry for years. I've known people to be angry for decades. They cannot move beyond one phase or move beyond it successfully and, maneuver. They're just stuck in the anger.
Well, a lot of that has to do with self-esteem. Because people, if you pay attention, people with good, healthy self-esteem do not grieve very long in terms of like divorces. They often realize their mistakes. They often own some of the mistakes that were made. They don't say it's all that person. Healthy self-esteem, self-confident people tend to divorce better, if there's such a thing. And so what happens with the anger, usually it's a disappointment. And remember also, you don't always divorce, you often get divorced. So that's where the anger comes in a lot, is that you feel rejected. Men tend to be worse, but women are vile. When they don't forgive it, they will hold on and they'll hold on. And they
don't move on. That's
the problem. But that's when, again, you deny. People love to say, well, I was there when they were making the ice cream, and I was there when they had the cookies, and I was there when all the food was there, and I was there when the baby born, but I wasn't there when them stabbed the wife. No, we are all a part, good and bad. So we only want to identify with the good parts of things. And we don't want.
Look like Judith fall off the chair.
Yeah. Drop off the scene.
Look like she.
Right. And that's why the conversations are so important to be had. So people know that things to look out for, stumbling blocks, big old, hills that they have to figure out how to climb over,
but
what to look
Sam,
for and how to respond.
Come in on this one, Sam. What about red flags that we as people just seem to ignore? What is it about us as human beings that we see a red flag and we ignore it? Red on anything most of the times mean danger. You look at a stop sign that's red. A red light flashing on your dashboard, it can't be good. Any red light come on your dashboard, it ain't good. A red light means stop. You run through that is trouble. Why is it when we see red flags in a relationship, we just tend to sidestep it and want to keep forging ahead? Why?
It depends on I think it depends on the maturity of the person who sees the red flag. Does the person who see the red flag is it something they can tolerate? Is it, because then
you start bargaining.
You got to think, right. So if it's a red flag now, is it something you can tolerate? Is it something that is a no-no? Is it something that, you know what, is a red flag, but it might be an adventurous situation to, you know what I mean? So you have to know or be mature enough to understand, okay, what red flag you're going to work with and what red flag is let
me say that different for Sam. Let me say that different for Sam. Sam like to be politically correct. Let me say that differently.
I'm politically correct.
Yeah, man, very much so.
I have already drawn the conclusion at this stage of my life that all on a woman crazy. Woman crazy. I don't come
we're
to that
having
conclusion.
such an intelligent conversation.
I just have to make up my mind at this stage of my life what type of crazy I intend to deal with.
Okay. And what kind of crazy you are?
What type of crazy?
Hey, that will take some.
Who brings you back on?
Hey, that will take some introspection, That needs introspection.
Who brings you back on? Did she just get top off and go on the show and go on? Well, not this topic when she disappears, she come back before I get a chance to wrap up the
Hey, young woman, hear me roar. Listen, I am so sorry. I'm Italian, so I use my hand. I was doing this, and then I know I cut myself out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but this is what Sam was saying. Sam talking about what the red flags, and from the beginning you see, this woman crazy.
Yeah, man,
but
crazy,
because she look nice and she sit down, everything sit down right. You say, well, you know what? I'm gonna work with this.
You start to bargain.
But if when you start to date somebody, and she get vexed one time, and take up a spoon and say that again. Say that again, I'll juke out your eye. Why are you trying to form any kind of relationship with that mad woman? Why?
Because something in her attracted you. See, that's what you have to find out. What is it in her that attracts you? Because it's that why you keep holding on.
If somebody come to me with a spoon and so they go check out my eye.
and you say, at least it's not a fork.
And you say, roll with that.
I look here now.
The thing is that men, I think men confuse excitement with madness. I think men confuse, sexiness and sultriness and all that stuff with craziness. Because there's some people, and vice versa too, there's some women who are clearly, certifiably crazy when you meet them. Same thing with men. But you all think that's exciting. And what you have to figure out, like you said, is this excitement tolerable? Will this excitement lead to death? What kind of excitement is this? You have to look at people honestly, because we see people as they are when we meet them. But we decide we're going to fix them. We decide, this is exciting.
Well, right. In defense of the crazy people, you have to realize, you have to kind of analyze, okay, is this something where they need a father figure? Because when you're a man and you're dealing on these levels here, you're providing a certain element to the equation or bringing certain factors.
Sure.
So you're wearing different hats.
Yeah. You're in trouble already. You're in trouble already. The moment you see you're wearing different hats.
I'm just saying, when you understand how this person work.
You don't understand. You're just attracted to it.
You get an idea. When you get an idea, let me say you understand, because we never really understand what's going on. When you get an idea of how this situation going, when it's a father figure moment, it's a lover moment, it's a comforting moment, it's a companion moment, is
a mental health therapist, man.
No, you need the different. You had to handle all the different moments. So when you had to go through all the different.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to go through all of that. That's your choice.
No,
it's because you like what you saw and you decide and go so me and everybody else. You go through it. Listen, we know mad when we meet mad. But if you decide I kind of like that mad enough, there's something underneath it. You're already hooked. You're in trouble. You know what's to run. That goes for you and me and everybody else.
Sometimes you come out of a relationship with an individual that's very docile, so to speak. Them not talk much. Them not exciting. They're not excitable.
Okay.
And then you meet somebody who just alive and make your what's the word I'm looking for here, Karin?
They draw you out. They make you feel
come alive.
I don't know what you're looking for.
No, what's the chemical? The endorphins?
Endorphins.
No. Hold on. They make you feel like you rated water. Pure fizz.
Explain that word for me. Wait, is N? I say endorphins. Wait,
endorphins.
Yeah.
So wait, everybody know this but me.
It's all right. We understand where you're coming from.
Trini understand Trini. Trini understand Trini.
Endorphins.
So, Karin, you the physical health specialist here. Talk to me. What are endorphins?
That adrenaline, that hormone that makes you feel as if you are on cloud 9, as if you can't die, you can't.
Cloud 19.
You can do a base jump off a building and land on your feet, man. Mm-hmm.
So it's a
individuals that make you feel like this.
It gives you a natural high, and
but it's a natural, very quick,
right? And it's beneficial to the body.
And then you crash.
You know, they talk about drugs, illicit drugs. The more you take it, is the more you gotta take it to keep that initial high. Mm-hmm. Remember, anything that takes you up that high that fast, to stay up there, you're gonna need a bigger high next time. So if this person can't give it to you, you're gonna be like, I don't understand what happened to her. She just changed. No, she didn't tell you she could keep you up there all the time. You wanted to keep you up there all the time. And then you say, she's boring.
Let me ask Dr. So Dr. Judith, you will not, if you meet someone, you will not, test and see if this is somebody that's suitable for you.
Listen to me, Star.
Let me talk. Can't just stand on a mountain and figure it out.
Listen to me. Let me talk. Backyard chat.
Give me the real situation here.
I'm gonna talk backyard chat. Is your call?
Bring it. Caribbean feedback.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Oh,
I used to be the endorphin junkie when I was a younger girl. I was a idiot. You understand? When I see the romance, I turned stupid. When I was about 14 years old, one of my brothers, Jeff, had an American friend come to Jamaica. The guy was like 6'19". I never met anybody tall like that before. And they had a birthday party for me at my house. He was visiting Jamaica. Let me tell you, man, this was a prince. I mean, he was handsome, everything. And let me tell you something. When that man danced with me, I lost my little mind. My father looked at me like, Judith, do you realize what you're doing? I was like, no, Daddy, but it feels good. You understand? At one point, that man and I danced like grown people, and he was very charming. But guess what? That's when I was 15. If I keep responding that way at 66 years old, somebody go get a doctor for me. Something is wrong. Because that guy, had my father not been around, he probably would have seduced me. And I would have gone along. I was stupid. The endorphins was popping. And this is how I went. This is how I look at him. Like a total idiot. You understand? And because he was so tall enough, and he's dancing with me, and he looked down on me, he said, not yet. But what has happened over the years, I have learned I cannot keep making the same stupid mistakes that I made when I was 15. There is a time when this starts out and it thrills you, whether it's a man and a woman, whatever, you thrills each other. And the endorphins all over the place. And you say, oh my God, this is wonderful. I was feeling that way with that nurse that I talked about earlier. But let me tell you what happened. He didn't know me when I was 15. He didn't know nothing about me. And somehow, because I expressed my affection for him, he thought that I was 15. He thought, oh my, because you see, I'm very expressive. And I'll tell you, I love you like butter and cheese. Ackee and sawfish to follow. I'll tell you, that's who I am. I'm a very romantic girl. And I have the lyrics to match. So he started thinking it was about him. And people don't understand. When we truly love somebody, it's not really about them. It's about the gift of being loved. And I told him that. I said, you don't understand. I quoted from the Bible. I said to him, and I meant it sincerely. I said, understand this. Above all else, I wish that your soul would prosper. Now, when somebody tells you that, for me as a Christian woman who believes what I'm saying, if I tell you that, it means I love you romantically. It means I love you, the agape love. It means I want the best. And I said, even if we don't end up together, I want you to know that I care for you. That scared him more than anything else that I said. But it got his he's fairly bright. I was going to say pea brain. But anyway, he got his mind to the place where he started thinking, I got her.
So this was the second one, or the
no. This was recent.
Totally different.
No, this is a couple of years ago. But guess what the mistake he made? He figured if I felt that way, then the physical was the next to follow. You can't figure that with me because I'm not normal. So you can't figure that with me.
Oh, that we know.
Well, we know. You know I know that. So when
we know you're not normal. We know you're not normal.
When he sent me the text that said when he said I'm not over him sufficiently, I wasn't over him at all. I still loved him. But guess what? You cannot tell me that I can't get over you. You're rude. You're past your nest, as they say in Jamaica. You're past your place. So I looked at the phone and I wrote him back. I said, don't take all of that. I deleted his number. I changed my number. This lady said to me, she said, but you cared for him. I said, I cared for him. I didn't tell you that I worshipped him. So the thing is that after a while, the endorphins are still there because that guy had my endorphins up there. But your thinking should be more structured. You should be healthier in how you process information and say, you know what? I really care for him, but that's crap.
But since this is not what we start off talking about, but we happen to be talking about relationships now, which, if they are healthy, will not lead to this depression state that we started off talking about. Right. So, since we're talking about endorphins, let us talk a bit about serotonin. A lot of women talk about they falling in love. Sometimes, you know that bond that a nursing mother gets with a child when they form that, when that child suckle on the breast, and it gets stimulated and it releases that serotonin, and it's just a love that is fostered that a mother cannot even explain with a child. Sometimes women get into these physical relationships with some men, and that serotonin gets released, and they say, oh, I'm in love. Ain't got a damn thing to do with love. That serotonin was released. You know, Sam, you ever look at a woman and say, how the hell did he end up with she? You're looking at the fella and you don't understand. You know, people used to talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce.
You're judging the looks. You don't know the dynamics of the relationship.
Normally, when I see that, I will say, I can't judge the book by its cover.
Thank you very much. You don't know what they share.
Maybe he has a great personality, or maybe she has a great personality.
Something else. But that's serotonin that gets released, and we tend to confuse one thing with the other. And we start to talk about love, and I just love him, and I just love him, and I just love him. And then somewhere along the line, depression might sit in, and that serotonin cut.
No, the serotonin run out.
Oh, it run out. And then you look wrong and you wake up one night, the man, not me. Wake up one night and the woman sit up over him watching it. Sam, you know what that mean, right? Out of all the people in the world, I end up with a duppy like you. Huh? I tell it, Sam, if you ever get up and see a woman sitting down and watching you while you're sleeping,
run.
I tell you.
Run. Because this is how they're thinking.
But
how
listen,
did they
Curtis,
get themselves in this
Curtis,
situation?
remember this. Those are just not always true, because you might wake up and see a woman looking at you and she's actually saying, my God. And those things happen. My God. Look at how blessed I am. Hey, listen, I woke up a couple of times. My husband, I said, why are you staring at me? He says, I just like looking at you. I was like, yeah, you might be trying to kill me or something. But seriously, the way he looked at me, touched, it was a serotonin. The way he looked at me, touched me, because he was so genuine. And it wasn't once or twice that he did it. But I think what happened, seriously, is I think what happens is that we're too caught up in the physical of everything. We're too the physical, and I feel, and I look, and I touch. Listen, I am the kind of woman who will tell my husband, your bottom feel nice, you know. Don't say anything, Sam. Because that's who I am. Okay? So what I do is I give back to a man. I don't just take. See, I think that's one of the mistakes that we make. Whether it's man or woman, we just want to receive. I love to give. So I will make him, maybe feel like he's a sex object sometimes. That's okay too. But I will give, and I'll say, hey, my husband had a way that he would do this to his hip bone. I said, oh, do that again. Oh, he got such a charge out of it. He was like, really? One simple little act. It made him feel wonderful. So, but the thing is that one of our problems, all of us, and I have it less and less, is to look at people exactly because they're in front of us. They're there. And we need to learn to say, you know what? If he dig his nose, I'd rather he dig his nose in front of me than pretend he don't dig his nose at all. I'd rather that. Get it out of the way. But we do too much pretending. Oh, no, I was just blowing my nose, you know. You was digging your nose. So these kind of affects that we put on, and and we don't, all of a sudden somebody's around that we like, we don't cough anymore. We don't do anything that's unattractive. I believe, I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, a male, and I think in our conversation, I think he said to himself, man, this lady, she ain't even trying to be romantic. No, let's deal. You want to get to know me? Let's deal with me as I am, just like I talk here, just like I am. This is the way I'm at work. This is the way everywhere I go. So
Judith,
let the real person come forward.
If you're dating a guy, you would bust a fart in front of him?
Well, I don't normally do that, but it does happen, and I will try not to let him. I would try not to do it. I would, being honest, I would try not to. But if it happened, I would probably, knowing me, I'd probably say something like, well, those things happen. I keep on moving. I mean, for me to say, oh my, that has never happened before, lies. Why am I lying? I said, listen, I know I would say this. Well, it's better you know it now than later.
All right, so let me show some love to the people in the in the chat room. Some comments. Here we have Miss Sherelle Hope. Sherelle has been on the show before. That's my brother's captor. She mentioned earlier on, let me look for these red flags. Sherelle, if by now you ain't seen no red flags, that there are none for you to look out for. You're holding a man captive for well over 25 years. Whatever red flags, you probably the one waving them. Don't tell me that no red flags. Sit down somewhere with that. She said, well, I do that to your brother sometimes. And I believe she's talking about sitting down and watching him while he's sleeping.
Watching while he's sleeping.
I think that's what she's talking about. So, I'll give him a call. I'll give him a call tomorrow. We had to discuss that one.
You gotta give him a call and check what's going on.
You gotta give him a call tomorrow. At least if you don't know how to let him know what's really going on. All right, Miss Sylvester, she was laughing at the serotonin running out. She said that is a very serious state of affairs.
That's right.
Understand, woman, that is what happened a lot of times when you just find yourself out of love with this man. That serotonin run out, and you can't even understand why you was in the relationship to begin with. Serotonin done.
No, you know what happened? You found out who the real person was. You said, Lord of mercy. That's what run out.
Yes, that's it.
Lucy O'Brien said, every bread has its cheese. I remember my girl's mother, she used to see from Guyana, she used to say, every moldy biscuit I vom vom cheese. Jamaican, well, they say every who had stick a bush.
Yes.
Same thing. It has somebody for everybody out there, no matter how ugly, how twisted, how whatever you are. It has somebody for you out there.
Every monkey has to climb.
Have it. Same thing.
Yeah.
And Sherry Ann found that the Stella, she find that was very funny. Judith, when the man called you Stella, get in your groove back. And everyone said, good evening. Sherry Ann said, get well, Mark Chase. Thank you for your compassion, your empathy, Miss Sherry Ann Sylvester. That's it for the comments. Oh, she said, hold on. Sherelle come back in. She says she's looking at him right now, snoring.
Oh, gosh.
All right, put your business out in the street. Poor fella.
Poor fella.
Put your business out in the street. Don't worry, tomorrow he go tune in and see that you're talking about him. But, ladies and gentlemen, we started off talking about death, depression, and divorce. It was indeed a pleasure that we could sit here and laugh, even after talking about some of the things that adversely affected us where these three things are concerned. But in wrapping up, I'd like for each and every one of you to tell us the importance. So Judith, you speak about this, the importance of proper mental health when somebody's experiencing depression or at some low point in their life, for everybody to cover that. Give your own advice on that, the importance of proper mental health when you're going through a low point or some sort of depression in your life. Take us home with that comment, please.
There's a song that I sent to a friend the other day. She just got the virus, and I just keep sending her daily stuff. And I sent her a song, and the song says, "The God on the mountain is the God in the valley." And my attitude about, like I said, and I think you all know by now, everything that I do is based on my relationship with God. And part of that, I truly believe now more than ever today, more than ever before, that relationship has afforded me the desire and the need to be truthful with self. If you are not truthful with yourself, you're not going to be truthful with anybody else. Most of us wear masks. Long before these masks came into action, we've been wearing a lot of masks, pretending to be people who we're not. I really believe that when we start saying, listen, it's me that needs fixing, maybe, not always them, we can have a better chance at having healthy relationships. If you have a healthy self-relationship and then it gets compromised by death or divorce, although there are two kinds of deaths there. If you already have a healthy relationship that you're working on with self, because remember, we can't give anybody anything that's healthy if we ourselves are not healthy. And so what I do is I teach, I practice it daily. Self-evaluation, being honest with self, not just always saying it's them, finding out what part have I played in my own life in relationships that fell apart. What part did I play? Who's Judith? So if I find out who I am and I continue to become strengthened, and not just like Sam said jokingly, I hope earlier, You can't be just on a mountain saying no to everybody. No, you're not good enough. No, that's not it. Self-evaluation should bring us to a place where we see people as they are. We still care for them. We respect them. But we must be able to say, and which thanks be to God Almighty, I am there. You can say, you know what? It ain't going to work. You're okay. I care. You're cool. But that red flag bleeds. It's going to bleed all over me. And I cannot fix it. Let me tell you, one of the most powerful things in life is to be able to say, I can't, first of all, I'm not supposed to, but I cannot fix another person. And it's not that you finally choose the perfect person. You finally, for men, they are supposed to choose. But when women accept it, it should be that place where we say, you know what? He ain't all of that, and neither am I all of that. But there's enough of this serotonin, lack of a better term right now. There's enough good stuff. There's enough conversation. There's enough laughter. There's enough getting along. There's enough of that stuff that when that little red flag comes, we can stomp it together. But you got to first acknowledge that the red flag is there on both sides. Or else you're going to go into emotional, romantic death. And relationships cannot work that way. We've got to each acknowledge there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with you. But whatever it is, like God, I'm going to move around it. And I'm going to get to that good spot that you and I can work on this. And we want to work on it. But to deny that red flag is there, to say I can chop it down, I can cut it down, don't do that. And I can tell you that's where I live now. I am not trying to fix anybody. You got stuff going on, and if I think I can deal with it, then it's up to me to say, listen, it's not a deal breaker, as they say. But I got to first know who Judith is. I got to know who. That's what's killing relationships. We don't know who we are. I know who I am, and that intimidates people. Ain't nothing I can do about it. That's it.
Miss Forrester, you remember the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Going in a slightly different angle with this. The death, divorce, depression, they're all such palpable things. Nobody wants to talk about it. But not talking about it makes you fall deeper in despair. It's not weakness, it's just pain. My personal experience is that during each of those situations, let's call it that, it's a time of reassessment of relationships. It was for me. I've gone through all three. So let's just be clear on that. There are friends and family that at times you just have to purge certain people from your life, because if these people are saying that they care for you so much and they're not making those calls, they're not texting you, they're not stopping by, and they're just sitting back and allowing you to spin out of control, you got to go. Because if the situation were reversed, I'd be right there saying, what can I do for you? If you say nothing, okay. At the very least, we've said it already. Ask, what can I do for you in this situation? How can I help you? Not what I think you should do. How can I help you? And I think that's it.
Mr. Archer.
Well, in my closing remarks, I remember when my ex-wife had gotten a new pair of glasses. Actually, she wasn't wearing glasses for a certain time at the marriage, and then she ended up getting a pair of glasses. And decided to tell me, I actually see what you look like now.
Oh, gosh.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew that. Mr. Politically Correct.
It was funny, though. It was funny. But, when you hear it, it pinch you a little bit first. Like, I wonder if that's good or bad, boy. You get a little stick, right? So there's a saying. It says, to thine own self be true. And one of the things I had to do, and I'm still working on it, it's just a work in progress, is letting go of the reflex answers. How you doing? I'm good. You don't know if you're really good. You might be not doing good that day. But because of the reflex answers that it's sort of like a conditioning. We condition to answer, everything in the affirmative, but if you're not really doing good that day, I'll say, it's a rough day today, and sort of just bring the truth. And I know we had spoke about moments where you felt helpless. I didn't really get to share, but there were two experiences I had. Of course, I think we're all divorcees on the panel. So you feel helpless at some point in that. And actually, more importantly than even that, I wrote down miscarriage. You have a miscarriage, that's a whole other process.
Yeah.
You feel very, very helpless there. And you have to be understanding, and you have to be patient. Patience is something that and there are folks that still deal with that. So one of the things that helped me, and it'll be different for everyone else, or it may be the same thing, is that I have a lot of friends, but I have some friend, or some friend. This is my friend, them. And, these were people that you could really chop it up with and be transparent without worrying if it's going to be on Channel 5 later. You're worrying if they have a best friend as well, because then everybody have a best friend. And your stuff could get out there. And sometimes you just want your stuff to stay, when you're chopping it up with that person. And I had, I think, like about 3 people that that I was able to have those types of conversations with, or just chop it up and mix it up with. And ironically, these were women. Ironically, so maybe for women it might be men. I don't know.
Right.
But they were women who saw me in a vulnerable state, and they were able to talk and really be a friend in that moment. And I think having real friends or good friends that can look out for you, they don't take advantage of your situation or of the situation, and can steer you in the right direction. And I think with this this triple threat we discussed tonight, is not easy. It's not a quick, 2 parts salt, 1 part water, 3 parts bitters, a scoop of ice cream, and it'll be fine. It'll be maybe 5 parts salt, maybe 10 parts Angostura bitters, and so on. So I think if we can be true to ourselves and have good friends and have some patience to be a friend to someone that's in need in these moments, I think that would be a good start and help work with them through the process. So I know my closing remarks was what, like 20 minutes, but thank you for my closing remarks. I hope it helps someone that's looking on tonight, and even with my friends on the panel.
I'm one of your friends.
If you're my friend, of course.
Okay, I just asking.
Yeah.
I just like to be clear about those things. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
We good, man. But I know you. I know you and he is friend. He said, well, it's friend.
Who that?
You and the fella in the corner up, so the one.
Yeah. Well,
are you friend or your friend?
That's about numbers of years.
So for me, in terms of proper mental health, I am not taking anything away from the mental health professionals. If you deem that therapy is necessary, then by all means get that. But I want to tell people, don't be ever afraid to ask for help. You don't have to suffer alone.
Important.
People around you may not understand what's going on or may misjudge you and may never be able to offer the proper assistance you may need, but it's always good to have someone to talk to. Or just someone simply being there. Someone mentioned that tonight, just having someone there, sometimes just to stay quiet and listen to you. Or stay quiet. And in that emptiness, in that nothingness, you may find the answers that you're looking for. Because average people, they don't know how to show support for people who are suffering from depression. You have to first understand that. So don't look for answers from people, but always have somebody there in case you need someone to talk to. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Learn to live in the moment. Understand that laughter is very good medicine. You have to sometimes force yourself to engage in activities that could create some sort of humor in your life. Laugh a lot. Know for certain that it may be dark tonight, but how you all say, joy
cometh in the morning.
Joy cometh in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
know
sir.
that.
I see
Don't
it.
ever give up. Never, ever give up.
Yes, sir.
No matter how dark it may seem. Remember, there's never been a double night.
All right. Oi. Morning gotta come.
Tomorrow. Daylight coming tomorrow.
Sir.
Unless you're living in Alaska, that's a whole nother story. But remember that daylight coming tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
So hold on. Keep the faith. Keep strong. And stay alive. Because once there is life, there is hope. Do not make permanent decisions to temporary problems.
Right.
Hold on. Joy cometh in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. Peace.
Bless.
Good night, and good night, Georgia, or I am Georgia, who came in on the later end there. Good night, and everyone else, and all the beautiful people and the lovely people. Good night.
Good night.
Have a drink.
Cheerio.